It's good to have fresh content on your website, but there are a lot of misconceptions about how important fresh content really is. Some webmasters believe it's important to constantly keep posting new content on their blogs or websites. Some also believe fresh content has an edge over old content that's already been ranking for a while. Some webmasters go to great lengths to keep all of the content on their sites fresh. They change a few words here and there, add or delete images, and keep doing other minor changes very often just to give the illusion of freshness and keep spiders coming back as often as possible. Luckily, the ranking advantage of fresh content is just another SEO myth. While it's good to have fresh content on your site, and some visitors might love your website if you post new content regularly, fresh content does not always have an advantage when it comes to ranking in Google. Fact is, a lot of the pages that are ranking in the top 10 of Google is content that's at least several weeks old or even several months old. They are certainly not fresh. Those pieces of content have built up links and authority over time and are now ranking at the top of Google. Fresh content usually does not have many links, and just being fresh alone does not give it the power to dislodge content that's already ranking at the top of Google. It takes relevance and popularity for a piece of content to rank at the top of Google. It doesn't really matter if a piece of content is fresh or old. If it is relevant and very popular, it will rank well, regardless of whether it is fresh or old. Google can now tell whether a certain phrase is a QDF or a query that deserves freshness or not. For instance, if someone is looking up information about an earthquake that happened an hour ago or about a baseball game that's in progress, Google can tell it's a query that deserves freshness and it will give priority to fresh content on the topic. But if a high school kid is looking for information about what makes the sky blue, Google can tell it's not a query that deserves freshness and fresh content will get no priority. Fresh content matters for news sites, but not so much for affiliate sites. HTML header tags, in particular the H1 tag, play a big role. There are 6 header tags, H1 to H6. While header tags help in structuring the textual content of the page and make the important idea stand out from the rest of the page, the H1 tag in particular is very important. Google gives more weight to the H1 tag and far less importance to the rest of the header tags. H1 tag usually is used to tell the search engines what the main idea of the page is about. For the less important headers, you would want to use the other header tags H2 through H6. Header tags, H1 in particular, are also believed to send relevancy signals to Google. While H1, H2 and H3 tags are very important, the other 3, H4, H5 and H6, have very little importance and are rarely, if ever, used on most web pages. It's very important that you have several headers. Internet users skim pages, scanning for content they are interested in. Using headers makes browsing a more pleasant experience, and you would want to have plenty of white space between headers and the rest of the textual content. You would want to use the focus keyword once in the H1 tag. H1 tags are typically placed at the top of the page and would be the same as the page title. Avoid using the focus keyword in the rest of the header tags. Using it once in the H1 tag is sufficient, and using it in several headers might be considered spamming. And H1 tags need to be unique. Do not have duplicate H1 tags. That said, you would never want to use more than one H1 tag on your page. If you use too many H1 tags, Google can penalize the site. A few years ago, you could use several H1 tags on your page, and that could move your page up the SERPs significantly. But trying that now can hurt your site. Today, search engines look very closely at the semantic relationships between words contained in the header tags and the rest of the text of the page, in addition to the alt text of images, image file names, and the words in the URL of the page. So, it's impossible to influence rankings just by using multiple H1 tags like it used to be possible in the past. Some content management systems or even poorly coded themes can make your page have multiple H1 tags. You would want to make sure that doesn't happen with your site.